Well, there we are. Give everybody a few seconds to jump in if they're going to show. Notice the fancy new, this thing, the overlay. I made that, sort of. I used a template. I'll tell you all about it in like 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Today is Wednesday. It's July 21st, 2021. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup of coffee. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. And I'm joined by my occasional but lately frequent co-host, Zuza. We did not have the best night. She was very fidgety, stepping on me pretty much from the time I laid down. Did not get the best night's sleep because of that. She kept wanting to be where she's not supposed to be. Who knows why? But I'm here, and that's what coffee's for, isn't it? Well, that overlay, see that overlay at the bottom of the screen? If you're listening to this, if you're one of the folks who listens in audio form, you're missing out on the new things that we're working on with this show to try and make it more, make it better. And I would encourage you to, once in a while, check it out on YouTube. I'm still targeting next Monday is the first day that we simulcast with Facebook. I think I want to improve this overlay. I don't love it. There's a little bit of a white edge to it that I didn't want to be there, but it's okay. You know, there were plenty of companies that wanted to sell me these templates, but I only found one place where I could make my own easily. And to be fair, I could have made this pretty easily myself, but I wanted something to start from. I'm not great at coming up with brand new ideas on visuals. I need inspiration. And I'm sure a lot of even artists would say that, but I really get stuck. Jeremy, what do you want for an overlay on your screen? I don't know. Do you want, I don't know. But what if it's, sure, let's see what that looks like. And then we iterate on top of that. That's pretty much how I do anything visual. I gotta see it first. So what was yesterday? Yesterday was Tuesday. You know, this new schedule that I'm doing, I think I've talked about this, you know, this idea that I'm presetting blocks for all my clients and whistlekick divisions and everything throughout the month. It's working really well. It's reducing my stress level. It's increasing the quality of my work. And yesterday I finished the first draft of the videos for the flexibility program, meaning that program is almost ready to share with the last few people that I want to give their thumbs up on it before we roll it out. The things that are left, what's left? There's a training calendar that I want to sketch out. That'll just be a quick Excel thing. In fact, I might be able to get that done this morning. And then I've got to get that off to people to look at. And then once they're done with that, then it goes to others for forward, to write a forward. There are 4 people I've identified I want to write a forward to that book. I don't know how many of them will be willing, but we'll see. Stacy says, good morning. Good morning, Stacy. Here, let me try something. Theoretically, I can do this. See? Morning. Stacy says morning. I like it. I like it. That's fun. So when those of you who join live, if you ask a question, I can put your question on the screen and then I can answer. How cool is that? I think it's really cool. I think it's better than just reading it. You know, if you're going to have video, it's nice to be able to see. Frank says, good morning. Oh, good morning, Frank. Stacy says it worked. It did work. Isn't that cool? Well, what are these 3 dots here? What can I do with this? Put user in timeout. I can put people in timeout. I think that just means that they can't comment for a while. Anything else good yesterday? I finished the workout routine I was on That had been like 3 months, and it was really effective. And so now it's time for another one. But I think I'm going to design this one, because since we're bringing the flexibility program to the end, and since it's time for me to start a new program, both personally and design-wise, I think I'm going to make one. This is going to be a more conventional weightlifting program. But I've got some ideas, some things that I'm not seeing incorporated in other programs. A lot of these ideas came up as I worked on the flexibility program. Stacy's asking, how did the garden fare last night? With all the rain, you mean? I had one of my tomatoes that has dramatically overgrown their cage fall, so I had to tie that up. But other than that, everything looks fine. Like we got some heavy rain, but at least I'm not seeing that anything got too beat up. I'm lucky where I am. I'm in this kind of microclimate, little valley sort of thing, and sometimes we get hit hard with stuff. But anything that has, anytime the wind is going to be a big factor, that's not really an issue for me, because yeah, I mean, there's a light breeze that'll constantly come down through the backyard, but big wind, it just doesn't hit us. It's kind of nice. What else did I do? What else did we do yesterday? Gym. I ate tacos for dinner. That was nice. Love tacos. Yeah, not a whole heck of a lot. Today's kind of a not too fancy of a day. It's got to do the books, got some client stuff, got some more client stuff, and I got some more client stuff. I think there's very little martial arts going on in my work today. Stacy says, man, that wind and massive raindrops made road salad and instant ponds up here. Yeah, I saw some posts from others in Burlington of some pretty gnarly flooding, 6 to 8 inches on the roads in some spots. Glad we didn't have to deal with that. I'm wondering if it's ever going to dry out. I think we've got enough rain for a little while. I think, in fact, what is the weather? When did I look? Let's see. What do we have for weather? Today's weather, courtesy of whatever is on my phone, looks like we've got cloudy with a high of 70. Tomorrow, sunny with a high of 75. Yeah, so we've got some relief coming, but still plenty of rain in the forecast. Things can dry out a little bit. That would be nice. I'm sure all the plants and the animals would appreciate it. Speaking of animals, I woke up to what may be the last remaining woodchuck on my property right in front of the patio door. And I was able to watch him or her for a couple minutes before I announced myself. And it's a young one. The things are, if they weren't eating my stuff, they'd be adorable. But he's eating my stuff. So I made some noise, shoot him back to where I thought he was hanging out, and I was right. That's where the trap is. And then I went out and I put some cantaloupe in the trap. So fingers crossed. I even threw a piece of cantaloupe in his burrow. So fingers crossed that he will, or she will, trip the trap, and I can go back to filling in holes. Stupid woodchucks. Well, let's see what you guys came here to talk about. I like this new setup. I do. I think it works well. I don't like that it pulls my focus here versus the phone where everything was right here. That was nice. But having the comments, being able to show the comments, I think is a nice feature. So it is my hope that as we do this, we will start to shift this a little bit. I love having content coming in. I love having Frank and sometimes others leaving me things to talk about. And I want us to continue that. That's an important part of the show. But I want your feedback in real time. I want you to ask follow-ups. I want you to ask me to go deeper on certain things. What did you mean there? I didn't understand what you meant there. How does this relate to this? Could this relate to that? I want to turn this more into that. I want to see us lean on each other in this conversation, because it is a conversation. At least it's meant to be a conversation. That's part of why we're doing this. So I don't like the fact that it distracts me, but I do like that it gives us more conversational features. Nope, not that one. This one. We go in here. Notifications. Oh, did I miss something the other day? Nope. Okay, straight. Today would have been comedian Robin Williams' 70th birthday. Robin Williams meant something to me. In Robin Williams, I saw a little bit of myself and a lot of myself that I wanted to be. It wouldn't have taken a very different roll of the dice for me to have been a stand-up comedian. I've always enjoyed making people laugh. And I've definitely spent plenty of time and energy trying to use humor to cover the pain and the awkwardness and feeling like a social outcast. But the part about Robin Williams that I think I love and embrace the most is the craziness. If you know me well, you know I've got a weird side, a pretty deep weird side. And a weird side that I keep in check because as a kid, I was conditioned to keep it in check. Robin Williams didn't keep it in check. He embraced it. He would say he kept it in check, and I'm sure for him and where he could have gone. Controlled insanity is what I heard him refer to it as. If you want to see what I consider to be the best instructional on improvisation, not a class, but the best example. Oh, I'm going to sneeze again. Excuse me. Inside the Actor Studio, the episode with Robin Williams. I think it's something like 10 or 15 minutes into the show before James Lipton gets to ask his first question. And what I also like about that episode is that show is a huge inspiration to me in regards to martial arts radio. The way James Lipton conducts his interviews, I took a lot from. So, yeah, Robin Williams. I think the saddest people always try their hardest to make people happy because they know what it's like to feel absolutely worthless, and they don't want anyone else to feel like that. I think I understand that. I don't think this is. No, I guess that is. I try to take good care of people. I try to make them happy. I try to be someone they can depend on because I have struggled with those things in my life. I'm trying to think of what my first Robin Williams movie was. I didn't grow up with Mork and Mindy. I think the earliest one that's in my head is Mrs. Doubtfire, but I know there was stuff before that. And I know I was a fan of his when I saw Good Will Hunting, because that scene with him and Matt Damon, the one that if you've seen the movie, you know the one I'm talking about. I remember feeling like that was so different for him. And then, of course, one of my favorite comedy albums of all time is the one that he did in 2002. 2001, 2002, somewhere right around there. I used to think the worst thing in life was to end up all alone. It's not. The worst thing in life is to end up with people who make you feel all alone. I felt that. I suspect we've all felt that at some point. I've even felt that at various martial arts schools. I'm thinking of one school that I trained at where it just wasn't healthy. Actually, I'm thinking of two that just weren't healthy. No, wait, sorry, that was the same school. Same school, I was just remembering different parts. And it was strange because they obviously knew coming in that I had rank prior, and they asked me to wear a white belt, and I was fine with that. That didn't bother me at all. But there was this interesting hybridization in my expectations. I was expected to perform above my rank because I had experience far above my rank. But I wasn't given any respect. In fact, my final day training there, I was having a knee issue. I forgot I had that knee issue. That didn't come up when my senior year of college. Anyway, sorry. I went to the instructor who, at this point, I've got 15 years of training and she's got 5. That's fine. I can learn from anybody. I go to her and I say, hey, just so you know, there's a thing going on with my knee. It is impacting the way I train. She's like, oh, okay. And later that class, the assistant instructor didn't like my stance, came up and kicked my leg out, kicked the back of my knee to extend my stance. And I just looked at him and I said, I've got a thing going on with my knee right now. He's like, oh, I didn't know. You assumed the worst. And that was my last class. Nobody ever asked me why. It was a student group. I was expected to take over as the president the next year. The only reason I was training there was so I had somewhere to train. But I had just gotten my first car, and I finally had the ability to drive to train with a Shotokan school that was a piece of the reason I went to this college. I felt like the people in that school didn't understand me. I felt like I felt like the people teaching were so green that they couldn't conceive of other ways or other valid experiences in the martial arts than their own. And that created some issues. I remember this one class, we got together, there was a bigger thing going on. And so we were all invited in. And I remember driving in, I think the head of the system picked me up at school because I didn't have a car. And driving in. And I remember having some respect for his skill, but not so much for him as a person. I don't remember why. And there were these canned sequences, these canned combinations, not quite a form, but it was all in line, 10 or 12 movements. And they were timing us. And so we'd do them. And the person running that drill looks at the watch and looks at me and says, nobody but whoever the head of the system, nobody other than Sensei. Nobody other than Sensei has ever done it that fast. And I was like, you guys need to train harder then, because it's the 4th time I've done that combination. And I didn't say that. But I think that's a good example of what was going on there. It wasn't a ton of quality. Next. This is a great quote. There's no shame in failing. The only shame is not giving things your best shot. We could relate that to what I just said. We could relate it to pretty much anything in martial arts. How many people are scared the first time they step out and compete? How many people are scared when they go for a rank promotion? How many people are scared when they start at a new school or any number of other things that they aren't experienced with? Lots. Most of us get scared. If I was to go compete again, no matter how much I prepare, no matter how solid I feel, I'm going to be nervous because I care about the result. When we're afraid, when we're scared about anything, it's an indication that we care about what's going on. Doesn't mean that's the only reason. It doesn't mean if you're not afraid, you don't care. It doesn't work that way. But it doesn't mean you do care. And I think, at least for me, when I feel nervous about something and I'm able to connect those dots, I'm nervous because I care and I want this to go well. And then I take a look at it and I say, okay. So what can I do to prepare? How can I make this better? How can I make this stronger, faster, easier? It gives me the ability to create a foundation and work from that. We're losing the cat. She's going this way. She's going to get tangled up in cords, because that's one of the disadvantages of the setup, is that we now have a bunch of wires coming here. I've moved them out of the shot. Don't be afraid to be afraid. I think that's the moral there. Coffee came out perfect. I added like another half a tablespoon to the French press. Since I started using this, I definitely drink way more coffee. I do kind of miss the pour over, but it took forever. This is almost as good. And it doesn't take forever. And I make, 3 cups of coffee at once instead of 1. The human spirit is more powerful than any drug, and that is what needs to be nourished. With work, play, friendship, family. These are the things that matter. Work, play, friendship, family. What if we applied that just to training? What if we thought about work, play, friendship, and family in the context of martial arts training? Well, the work part's easy. Work is the drills and the exercises that are effective. You may or may not like them. They might be difficult. They might make you sweat. They make you sore. They might leave bruises on you. There are probably a few of them that you dread. But what about play? I've taught at martial arts schools that are so devoid of anything resembling play that they can't do any free-form movement. If I ask them, okay, shadow box, they don't know what that is. I explain the concept, and then they just kind of scrunch up their face because they've never been given the opportunity to connect movements on their own. I don't even consider that to be play. To be play would be free form, but the priorities are different. If the priority is being effective and develops some skill or skills, play is done simply for the enjoyment. The priority is that it is enjoyable, that it is entertaining. Doesn't mean there isn't skill development there. If you take a look at most early education, it's play that has some components that are educational. I think it's something that more schools need, because people like to have fun, and if people are having fun, they're more likely to learn. This is something that I think a lot of instructors hide behind. Well, the way I was taught. Well, just because that's the way you were taught and worked for you doesn't mean it's the most effective way. And if your job as an instructor is to teach martial arts, you should be teaching martial arts in such a way that it is the most effective for the most people. And that means a variety of teaching protocols. And one of them, really needs to include fun. And if it doesn't, you're probably screwing up. Friends and family. Family's easy. When you're training together, you're family. You have a common goal. You have something that unites you. It's not blood in this case. It's the pursuit of martial arts training. A family has structure. It has hierarchy. Most martial arts schools have some element of that. But what about the friends? This is where I, for a very long time, have advocated martial arts schools should encourage, if not structure, social time among the students. In a lot of schools, it happens organically, but when it happens organically, it tends to be a few people to the exclusion of others. Oh, Stacy asked, Stacy's commenting things, but they just popped up on my screen. That's a bummer. I'm sorry, I missed them. We'll get those in. If you are a high rank at a school, I think it's time to start organizing some social time. If you're an instructor, tap one of your high ranks and make them the social director. It should not be the owner of the school. It should not be the head instructor. That's a longer conversation than we have time for. So in response to just the fact that we're talking about Robin Williams, Stacy says, ooh, such a great man and comedian, and so sorry he had to go so soon. Yeah. You know, my theory on genius, and Robin Williams qualifies for this, is that they have a finite amount of, well, I should clarify, genius artist. And I do consider Robin Williams an artist. A genius artist, because I don't know if you remember my definition of art, that in which the artist leaves a piece of their soul. A genius artist is putting so much of their soul into their work that there comes a time when they run out. There's no more soul left, and then they go in one way or the other. And I think that's what happened with him. Talking about the fun, Stacy says, short game bursts at Free Martial Arts Day. So Free Training Day has been announced. Free Training Day will be November 13th, 2021 at Woodstock Union High School in Woodstock, Vermont. If you are unfamiliar with this event, here's the short of it. We have a whole bunch of people come. Some of those people teach. Everyone trains. The instructors are training when they're not teaching. That is a hard and fast rule. And nobody pays anything or is paid. There are minimal expenses that go with the event. I cover those, and it is an awesome event. We didn't have one last year for obvious reasons, but in 2019, we had roughly 80 people attend, and I'm expecting well over 100 this year. So there is a Facebook event. If you go to the whistlekick Facebook page, you can see it under events. Whistlekick Free Training Day. We'll be rolling out a t-shirt design and a whole bunch of things. Just under 4 months to go. It's going to be awesome. David said, there's a lot of fake martial artists. I've seen guys with black belts and look and act all badass, but couldn't defend themselves in a real fight. And that's a shame. And, you know, there are plenty of people who don't train for self-defense, and that's okay. But I think that the important part here is if someone says that they are able to, if they do train for those reasons and they have little to no skill in that direction, I think there's a pretty dramatic disconnect there. And yeah, unfortunately, it does exist. It is sad. So I've got one more quote here from Robin Williams, and then I'm going to send you guys on your way. If you're new, subscribe, turn on notifications, leave me some comments after the show closes for tomorrow's episode. Hopefully you'll join us live. And remember all the other things that we do. Like if you want to support us, we've got a Patreon, patreon.com/whistlekick. And we've also got, hey, I could make a banner or something for that. Fancy. And if you want to grab one of our products, whether it's sparring gear or a shirt or something like that, from whistlekick.com, use the code FIRSTCUP15, you get 15% off. Okay. Seize the day. Make your life extraordinary. It's up to you. If you want more, you have to do more, take more, be more. Just doing the same things you've always done does not change the results. If you're happy with where you're at, if you don't want more, if you don't want different, if you don't want better, that's fine. I'm not going to judge you, and I don't think anyone should. But if you do want more, let today be the first day that you take a bigger step, that you try a little bit harder, that you ask for a little bit more, that you hold yourself accountable, whatever it is. Baby steps. How'd you get wherever you are in your martial arts journey? Baby steps. Same applies to life. Take care, everyone. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Peace.